Welcome back to the Small Business Show, where you get to hear the journey, find the challenge, and create solutions. I'm your host, Lori Brooks, and I thank you so much for joining me today. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. This week, I have the absolute pleasure of chatting with Justin Cow, co-founder and CEO of AMC Shifu, and a seven-figure entrepreneur dedicated to empowering others to achieve financial freedom. Born in Vietnam, Justin turned challenges into opportunities, co-founding a $6 million company before creating AMC Shifu, a mentorship program helping entrepreneurs build profitable Amazon businesses. Passionate about giving back, Justin supports underserved communities and inspires others to break free from the 9 to 5 grind, to scale their dreams and build lasting legacies through e-commerce success. Justin, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today.
Same here, Laurie. Thank you so much for your time.
I'm super excited to kind of dive into AMZ Shifu and where you are right now and how you're helping your customers. But before we get there, I want to rewind the clock just a bit. I want to think back to the days of childhood. Think back to a time when an aunt or an uncle or even a mentor would have asked you, Justin, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your answer to that question back then?
Oh, there's a lot. One of the things that I would always wanted to grow up is I want to become a singer. I want to be like Justin Bieber. And that's why I named myself Justin because that's just not my real name. So, to be a singer, to be an actor, to make a lot of money, to be famous. That was, I guess everyone dream when they was young. They like to be someone.
There
But
you
when they
go.
start get older, the corporate ladder is starting to open up. Hey, come over here. This is where you should be.
We may not have gotten to pop star status, but you're still quite the rock star in your own right with all that you've accomplished and all that you've developed. And, I'm sure you'll be making plenty more media appearances. So, rock star status is on its way, Justin. So, I'd love to know you came here from Vietnam. You chose the name Justin because you felt that was what inspired you and where the direction that you wanted to go. What was it that created the entrepreneurial bug for you? What was it that made you say, okay, you know what? I've moved here, I've started this journey, but this path, what did that path look like for you? Share us a glimpse of your move and your transition into entrepreneurship.
I'm always look at myself as a continuous learner because that's allowed me to have more room to growth. And that channel back into my early start. When I first came to America from Vietnam, very fresh. And with my dream is still, I want to become the next Justin Bieber. And that's what make me feel like, why not just pursue my dream? And
Mhm,
that's when every day after school, after go to work, I go home, I practice. I pick up the microphones and just practice every single day. And then I do actually start also singing locally as well. But one thing is, no matter how hard I try, I just feel like there's so many people out there. They're trying to become a rock star. They're trying to become a singer. So the size of the competition is so big, so huge. And there's not a lot of like barrier entry for people, so everyone can
mhm,
do that. And I know that out of 10 artists out there, seven of them are broke doing it. Only three, or maybe even one, are actually making it or making money. And that's when
mhm,
I know that it doesn't click anymore because no matter how hard I try, I still a broke um, artist.
mhm,
And during that time, I was juggling multiple jobs from tutoring at school as a assigned tutor. I also
mhm,
do nails. I also do like hauling stuff for people, trying to make an end meet. And
mhm,
I also work for Toyota of Dallas as well. And feeling that where I juggling multiple jobs, where I'm
mhm,
continuously pursuing my dream of becoming a singer, in the end, it doesn't match. It doesn't cross the line.
mhm,
And that's when I'm starting to look up on social media. Is there a different way that I
mhm,
can make more money? That's I can, let's say, pursue my dream And that's allowed me to stumble across selling on Amazon and selling online as a whole. During that time, I never came across like I want to become a business owner. All my dream is I want to make more money. I want to have more
Mhm,
time. I want to
mhm,
take care of my mom because my
mhm,
mom, she in her mid 60 now, and I know that just with a blink of an eye, blink of an eye, she could be gone anytime. Just like how my dad passed away, I still never fathomed about the passing away of my father when I was 13. But
My
ever since then, I
condolences.
just feel like there's always going to be something that happened. And
Mhm,
that's when I starting to park my dream aside and just focus on what gonna be the next things that can help me make more money so I can
mhm,
take care of my mom. You know, we all have
mhm,
childhood dream, but eventually as become an adult, we have to set it aside and
mhm,
to do what's right, to do what's right, to do what's responsible. Because that
mhm,
set a young boy become a man because he
mhm.
had now responsibility.
You were truly following your passion, you were following your dream, but I think you struck a chord when you stated reality hit. We all become adults. We all recognize that there's responsibilities that we have, be it children or elders or even pets for crying out loud. Who knows what it might be? Adulthood hits and there are responsibilities that come up. Kudos to you for really, waking up to the realities of life as an adult and recognizing, okay, this step wasn't working, this step wasn't working. This passion may not be the thing that I need to be following to actually make life what I want to see it become. So you started searching online like a million other people in this day and age are doing. And partly why this show exists is to be able to talk about that journey from working, random jobs, following your dream of becoming a business or becoming a singer to transitioning into, starting to sell on Amazon.
There's a really good story of my back in the day. It's basically many of us we all gonna have to wake up one day when the
Mhm,
reality hits. But reality for many people are quite a little bit different. But one thing that is common for many of us is that when you start open up your bank account and you don't want to open it up because you feel pain looking at the number. And the next thing you know, it just reality hit where your car broke and you're
mhm,
unable to fix it because you already maxed out your credit card. And then
mhm,
when your mom, she are in, let's say, some help that she need financial support, and you're
mhm,
unable to.
mhm,
That's when everything just starting to make you feel like,
mhm,
oh wow, maybe it's time to be an adult now. Maybe it's time to park my dream aside because otherwise, the direction that you're going to is not going to end up pretty well for you.
mhm,
And that was the reality for me when it's hit where, oh wow, I have something have to change.
mhm,
Something have to change, or I would go down the wrong path, like many people.
mhm,
So that's when I'm starting to look into what are different ways to make money. And that's at first I wanted to be a brick and mortar business. I do want to start, let's say, open my small nail studio or nail salon because I also do nails. I did nail for a living, doing it that time as well. I do want to work for corporate America, and I did work for corporate America, but none of them feels like I'm living.
mhm,
Because for people who are anyone that tuning in, if you like singing, if you like music, I know that you have an adventurous soul that you don't want to stuck in one place. And that's why I have to find a way for me to be able to be achieve freedom of time, location, and
mhm,
money, And that's when I start searching. And that's when I starting to look up the online thing. Because doing that online thing, I started back in 2017. During that time, people still have skepticism about selling
mhm,
online. They still think that it's a scam and
mhm,
you're not going to be able to make money with Amazon, with online things. But for me, I have to take that plunge because I have no other choices.
mhm,
I'm too broke to go into investing into real estate. I'm too
mhm,
broke to build a business like a restaurant. I'm too broke to do
mhm,
many other things. And Amazon and online was the easiest and accessible things for me because I started with about my first product that I was reselling. So I started as a reseller. I started
mhm,
reselling stuff from garage sales. On a weekend,
Mm.
I just go around my neighborhood and want to find anything that people sell. And someday I found an iPad for like 30 bucks.
Wow.
Flip it up on eBay, and that was my very first transaction where I
Mm.
never met a client, like the customer. I just send them a products, and then they send me the money. And that when the light bulb in my head start flickering. Oh wow, actually works. I never meet someone over the internet and they send me money.
Hmm.
That's when it's clicked. And that's when I starting to have that proof of concept starting to prove it more that
Yeah.
making money online is possible. Many of us,
Hmm.
including myself in the past, I was also skeptical because I got scammed before. So that's when I starting to, okay, now that proof of concept work, how can I do more of it? So anyone that
Hmm.
listening to this one is whatever you have in your mind, whatever the opportunity, the career that you want to pursue, trying to get your feet wet first because that allow you to test the proof of concept. Because if you never test it, you're gonna get stuck in the analysis paralysis. And that's just the reality of so many people. They get stuck in one place. They want
Hmm.
to be more, but they stuck because they overthink. There's a philosophy was sometime like our biggest enemy is not other people, but it's the
Hmm.
thought that we carry in our mind. And there was a photo
Hmm.
of a man, very skinny, but his thought his head was like big and like this, and he couldn't move. So that's allowed me to start selling online at first, and then eventually I started transitioning to Amazon private label, FBA. Another
Hmm.
term that I like to call, another term that I've been improving, that system is autopilot. I'm gonna talk about it in a later time. But for many people who are tuning in, the business model that I'm doing right now, they call it Amazon FBA private label, and I can show you
Hmm.
my number. And this is not a flex, but it just there's so many people out there that claim big number. They claim they make
Hmm.
multi-million dollar, but they're not able to show the proof. So do want to
Right.
show this
Right.
because I do want to give you guys transparency and sincerity so that you guys can see my track record before I start talking about this. So that
Hmm.
way I don't become another guru because I got burned. So
There we
this
go.
one, it did about $389,000
Hmm.
for the past 12 months.
Hmm.
This one is just like new store. And as I'm
Right.
talking to you right now, just fresh right now, it's just only 10 a.m., but it's already making about close to $400 that you
Hmm.
can see right there. And this is one of my many store. And I share this because I want to offer transparency to many people. This is another one. We did about $925,000
Hmm.
in the last 12 months. And this
Hmm.
store so far already making money today as I'm talking to you. And
Right.
why I share this because this is called Amazon private label,
Hmm.
where you are importing a product from China, you're putting your logo on it,
Hmm.
and then you start selling on Amazon and build a brand around it. With the two main goal is number one is cash flow on a monthly basis because we like to sell year-round product, essential product. And number two is like this brand right here is gonna have brand evaluation, the enterprise values that
Hmm.
eventually you can sell for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And I
Hmm.
sold one of my company 2 years ago. It did about $4 million per year, and that allowed me to retire my mom and
Yeah.
semi-retire myself because I want to work. I still want to continue to work. And that
Hmm.
is the transition. And that is the story of how I went from a sing I like to become a singer, like to become Justin Bieber, to be able to hit the reality that I have to park my dream aside to go into business and go into the route where people say, "Hey, don't go.
Hmm.
It's too much scammy. I have
Hmm.
to go. I cannot walk the same well-worn path like most people."
Hmm.
And I start seeing proof of concept. That's when I start double down, and eventually one thing lead to another. And I do want to shout out to God because if He never been here for me, I don't think that I will be able to do this. And many people that said I'm self-made millionaire. No, you're a God made, and the mentor that help you on a monthly basis help you get there. It's not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah.
And you're never self-made. You're God made, and you're mentor made.
Definitely, 100%. I thank you so much for bringing that journey to us. You gave us such clarity on how the journey unfolded. You really started off by making sure that you got your own mindset in the right place. You didn't listen to what other people were saying. You followed your gut. You followed your guidance. You understood this path that I was on, that everybody else is on, with whatever jobs and whatever bits of income are not cutting it. And you needed to make a drastic shift. And you followed your gut and you took the step to start, to just start. And like you said, that's truly what it really, really takes. In order to shift that mindset, in order to shift your reality, you've got to start somewhere, regardless as to whether or not you sell a $3 item on Amazon. You have to start by selling something. And then, as you explained, you started working it up. You realized, okay, proof of concept. I can actually do this. I can generate this income. Then you built it up from there. You built out the private label pieces. And that's when you were able to then go ahead, move forward, and start selling businesses that you've branded from there. So you've created an ecosystem of businesses that you can now create and sell, not just the products, but the brands themselves. So kudos to you for the entire setup that you've built out and the mentorship that you're now running with Amazon Shifu and what you've accomplished. It's impressive and inspiring. If you could go back in time, say 10, 20 years and tell yourself or someone else who's starting an Amazon business one thing, what do you feel like that would be?
I think that it's just important for people to get their mindset right. And
Mhm,
you reminding me of my early journey because it's simple as I was listening to someone podcast. And that's when
mhm,
I starting to, okay, maybe it's not good to be a worker anymore. Maybe it's good to be a business owner and it's important for us to start. And just like that, that's how my journey started. And though if I were to be able to come back in time and to tell my younger self, I would say just start. Just do it. Like Nike. It's so important that so many of us, like I share with you, is many of us, we are just a prisoner of our mind.
mhm,
And the society around you just telling you that you're not good enough, that you have to stuck in like this typical, uh,
mhm,
the ordinary, the box that people put out for you. So I would
mhm,
say, just like you share, just do it. Just start with the right mindset first. And it's important to surrounding yourself with the right environment because there's always one good question that I like to ask people, and I want to ask you as well is when a seed doesn't grow, was it because of the soil or was it because of the seed? My environment back in the day before I moved to America, I was in a very different environment. I would
mhm,
call it my first life. This is my second life, my second chance. My first life was after my dad passed away when I was 13. Um, there was a hole inside of my heart that never been filled, and the street was where I grew up. I grew up not the only time. Sometimes I go home to sleep, but sometimes I like to stay over at my friends doing drugs at the age of 14.
mhm,
So that my first life, my environment during that time was extremely dark. Many of my friends that I hang out in the past, fast forward now, they either passed away, they got stabbed to
mhm,
death, some dealing drugs, some got into trouble with the legal system there, and some
mhm,
have to move their hometown to a completely new place. And why I
mhm,
share this, because it's really channeled down to your environment most of the time it make you. Many people feel like there's gonna there's gonna be a lot of factor that involve, that is correct, but the one thing that would impact you the most is gonna be the soil that you
mhm,
are putting yourself in. And for many of us, we have the capability. Many people that tuning in, if you're tuning into this episode, I want to let you know that you could be the next Elon Musk. You can be the next, let's say, Albert Einstein. You can be
mhm,
anything you can dream of. For me, I was a C student back then. I wasn't born to be smart, but I was born that to know that if there's a will, there will be a way, and I'm not doing it by myself. Now I have God with me, like our ultimate father. I'm not sure if you religion or not, but for me, God saved me so many times. Many of my friends
mhm,
didn't make it. I made it through the tough time. So I knew there's going to
mhm,
be something bigger than us because our world right now, it's just a dim in the galaxy, in the this galaxy. So something there's bigger than us out there that we do not know. And that's why focus on the journey. If you are stuck in your current environment and you don't feel like growth, go out there, find new environment. Sometimes you have to move. Like me, me and my family moved to a different country completely
Mhm.
so that I can have the opportunity that many of my peers didn't have. But if I never do this, if I never move, I'll probably either death or end up in the legal system.
Sometimes we do start in places where there's craziness surrounding us. And sometimes that craziness can be the fuel for the next steps in the journey. And it sounds like you really took what you were going through, what you were dealing with, and the passing of your father, and my condolences for that, really was a turning point for you to recognize there's more that you wanted to see in life, more that you wanted to change and accomplish. And that was fuel for you to recognize that the lives of those who were surrounding you at that point weren't going in the direction that you wanted to see. And you were blessed enough to recognize that you do have the ability to change that path. And that's precisely what you did. So kudos to you for recognizing that. The show's really designed to help entrepreneurs come up with an idea for a new business in an industry that they may not have been thinking of. So someone may be interested in starting an Amazon business, but they might also be interested in creating a solution for something that you're struggling with. So I'm curious if you have the ability to wave that magic wand and change anything at all in any of your businesses, what do you feel like you would change?
Absolutely, that's a great question. And that exactly what Amazon Shifu was born to be that solution for so many seller out there. Because right now, our mission is we want to be the Harvard of online education, especially for Amazon.
Mhm.
And the reason behind it was during my time when I first started selling on Amazon, I encountered scam. People scam me left and right.
Mhm.
And there was guru that told me to bought his program and then he's gonna support me every step of the way.
Mhm.
But in reality, after I spent $5,000, $6,000 on his course, on his
Mhm.
membership, he barely even show up for me. He would just
Mhm.
give me a bunch of courses and hey, good luck. And that lead me to losing so much money, over $10,000 in 6 months of my time. And then that lead me to understand that I cannot just basically trust people like out of nowhere and on the internet. And that's why Amazon Shifu was born for a reason because doing my journey, I has helped so many people that able to retire themselves, able to walk away from the 9 to 5, making five, six, and seven figures. And many people, I document that journey on my Instagram at Justin D. Huncho. You will be able to see my student testimonial back to 2020. I've been documenting that journey. And that is the solution that I try to help people is number one, they cannot just trust people solely just on the internet just because they have
Mhm.
a Lamborghini, just because they have a mansion. How do you know that is their own or is rented?
Mhm.
That's number one. Number two is I want to cultivate for people in my mentorship. I cultivate my student is always about doing the due diligence. If they
Mhm.
don't walk the walk, all they do is just talking and rent with rented Lambo, run away. Because I was hurt. I was in
Mhm.
so much resentment during that time.
Right.
And number three is about finding the right mentor because in life we need that mentor. We need someone with experience, someone that who already know what the top of the mountain of success looks like, so that they
Mhm.
can get you there. And for many of us here that listening to this, your father, if your father was a good man, he is a good man. He was your first mentor in life. For me, I didn't have the privilege to have my father after 13, but I know that the power of mentorship because Warren Buffett was Bill Gates' mentor. That's how Bill Gates became a billionaire. And then we have Kobe Bryant, who was mentored by Tim Grover, and so
Mhm.
many great stories. Many big, great people, they all have a mentor. But now the mentor in today's society has been like put in the ground, like
Mhm.
being stepped on over and over because so many guru out there that are like throwing
Mhm.
shade and bad names on it, doing a bad
Mhm.
practice. And my mission at Amazon Shifu is to bring that back, to bring the value of mentorship back, and to let people know that, hey, you can do, there's two type of mentor. You can pick the wrong one, you can pick the right one. And when you pick the
Mhm.
right one, we're gonna be there with you, walk you every step of the way, based on the blueprint that we have worked for us. I share with all of my students the same blueprint that my mentor Charlie. I want to shout out to my mentor Charlie, and my mentor Josh as well. My mentor Charlie, he did $60 million a year business on Amazon, and he sold that business. His product is Rinky, the very first iPhone accessory in the market back in 2009, 8 and 9.
Mm,
So that's
that's
company still
awesome.
exists. And
Hmm.
that's what the beautiful thing about Amazon private label is. You're building a legacy that even your children can look back and say, wow, that's my father's very first business. Same with my
Hmm.
mentor, Josh Snow. He built a $100 million a year company selling Snow teeth whitening system that help people feel more confidence. That is his product and service. And for me, I like to help more and more entrepreneur out there to learn from my mentor without having to break the bank because I invest over six figures for them. But I want to find an accessible way for someone like me, someone tuning in, maybe in 13 to 20 something, but they don't have a mentor and they don't have a lot of
Hmm.
capital. They can still be able to accessing the same information for a small fraction, and that would help nurture their dream. And
I love that.
that is the if I were to have that magic wand, I'm doing that right now.
I was just gonna say, sounds like you are waving the magic wand, Justin. It's not about needing one. You already have one. You've employed it, you're waving it, and you're helping people change their lives. So I applaud you for all that you're doing. I applaud you for all that you've done. And I look forward to seeing where you take this and seeing all the other people that you help grow their own Amazon businesses. Justin, thank you so much for joining me today. Please share the best way for our viewers to find you.
Yes. So everyone, you can find me on Instagram at Justin the Hunchos. Feel free to send me a message on there because I am still love social media. On there most of the time. And feel free if you have any question, feel free to send me a message. And I do host a 2 hour workshop on a weekly basis where I share my journey, where I share how
Yes.
I'm able to start my business with zero money. These are my stack of credit card. I have a lot of credit card. So I host a 2 hour workshop where I share with people how I build my business with the bank money. Because one of the
Hmm.
beautiful thing about America is you can be, you don't have to start with money. You can borrow the bank money and make money and then pay it back. So I host 2 hour workshop about finance, personal finance, about mindset disciplines, and also about how to build a sustainable brand on Amazon that not only help you make your first $10,000 a month in the next 90 to 120 days if you are really putting the time and the focus. And ultimately, I want to cultivate an environment of people who are like to growth and like to do positive things to people because my program we build on four things: faith, family, fitness, and finance. Those are our core foundation. And lastly is we make our student do charity works um, so that they can learn the gift of giving. And that's how God will favor them more with blessing in the future. That's how the life will works.
I absolutely,
Thank you, Lori.
absolutely adore that. Justin, you are outstanding. I thank you so much for joining me today.
You are too. And thank you so much for putting me on. And I know the work that you do right now, the impact will be generationally. You're going to be impacting generations to come. Thank you, Lori,
I
for your
hope
time.
so. I hope so. I thank you. Thank you.